Greetings, programs, and welcome to the Munchkin Minute, your bi-weekly look into some tabletop gaming news and more. I'm your host, Dan, the Board Game Manager news for the end of September 2025. Now, there's a little bit less news, maybe a little bit more than last week, but there's only a little bit of news because there is a ton of crowdfunding and one really cool digital news. So let's get into everything. Got a pair of news here from Capstone Games to start us off. So they started the pre-order for Sanctuary. This is expected to ship by the end of the year, probably by December of this year. Should be about $60. Now, Sanctuary is kind of like, I don't want to call it Arc Nova, tile-laying Arc Nova light, but it's because it still has a little bit of weight to it. So it's still kind of a lighter to medium weight Euro, but it is quite a bit lighter than Arc Nova. And it's going to be something I'm really looking forward to. I haven't got a chance to play this one yet, but I did see David and Ryan over at Man vs. Meeple do a really good video overview on this one. So definitely check that one out as well for just to see how it is and how it plays and such. But this one looks absolutely great. I can't wait to get my pre-order in for this one. Arc Nova, one of my favorite games of all time, and this being kind of a tile-laying different version of it is just going to be perfect. So definitely check that one out. Next up, we got from Capstone, they're also going to be releasing Aquaria. This is from Tomas Holek. You know him from SETI and Galileo Galilei. This is going to be out next month. Well, I guess next month as we're listening to this because it's almost October. But it's going to be in November this year, probably mid-November, about $75. This is a medium weight Euro, and this is about filling up or designing your aquarium. Very interesting design very interesting theme for a kind of medium to medium weight Euro. So this has a really cool action selection mechanism in this one. So if you know his other games like SETI and Galileo Galilei, you know that he's really good at having some really cool gameplay and kind of doing that one fun thing to get the game going with the mechanism and for the action selection. I feel like this one has some weight to it, more so than you would think about designing an aquarium, but not nearly the depth, or I wouldn't say depth. The depth is a bad word. It's not nearly the weight of SETI, which is quite a heavier game. Again, these are just talking about different versions, or I'd say different kind of variations of two great games. You know, the first one I mentioned was a new version of Arc Nova, and this from the designer of SETI. Not that it's a different version of SETI, but just from the designer of SETI. This is going to have two great games from Capstone coming out, but $135 for both of these. Anyway, Capstone Games putting out Aquaria for about $75, and that should be out a couple months. A lot lighter and a lot cheaper here. Steve Jackson Games is set to release a new quick dice game called Purrfect Potions. This one will be out later in October. Should be about $30 to $35. While that doesn't seem too much, especially compared to these other ones, it does seem a little bit much for what you're getting in this game. So in this quick game, you're attempting to brew more potions than any of your friends. You have the help of your charming cat companions, but they aren't exactly under your control. They follow the whims of the moon, which basically means the dice. So you've got 13 cards, double-sided cards, a moon die, 4 cat dice, and 8 ingredient dice. That's all it seems to be in there. That's a lot for $35. That's not a lot for $35. Who knows? Maybe you'll see it a little bit cheaper, and maybe I'm just being a little cheap here, but it does look like a cute, fun little game from Steve Jackson Games, and they're really good at having the funness, a lot of good fun in a little box. FFG, or Fantasy Flight, has announced a smaller kind of quote-unquote faction pack for its Star Wars the deck building game. Mandalorian Faction Pack will require the base set, or one of the base sets that is, since this one has 70 cards to be put into one of those base packs. So you'll have all the Mandalorian characters and cards that go with it. This one should be out later in October, only about $18. So like I said, 70 cards, and it has this new 3-player rule set. I'm not sure I really care, because you don't want to play this type of game. To me, is a 2-player game. Like, these deck building games really stand out at 2 players. It gives you a 3-player rule set, quote unquote, for free-for-all play. I just want to play this one 2 players. Deck building games really shine at the 2-player head-to-head type of gameplay. But I'm sure this one will be really good, and especially for less than a $20 bill, sounds good to me. So after the GameFound for the Ultimate Edition, which made $1.3 million on GameFound, Ghost Galaxy is going to release The Lord of the Rings, The Confrontation. This is from acclaimed designer Reiner Knizia. This will be a regular version of it, in the kind of out here in the US. This will be out February of next year. It'll only be $55, not the $3,000 of the other ones. But if you're, if you're in the Discord, or if you know anything, this is basically Lord of the Rings Stratego is basically the best way to talk about it. $55 is not a bad price for this 2-player game, which is a lighter to medium weight, not really all that hard to play. About 30 to 45 minutes in gameplay. gameplay, and it is a little bit fun. But again, I'm not sure I would pay $3,000 for the table and all this, but $55 is not too bad for this particular one. And finally, in the news, Adams Media has released a GM tool. Sometimes I find these little things. I don't play a whole lot of D&D. I love D&D, but I just don't have a group or anything. But I love finding these cool little things for D&D that I like to talk about here. And I know we have a lot of listeners here in Spoiler Rights that absolutely love playing RPGs. So Adams Media has released a GM tool. This is for side quests to spice up your campaign. This is the Dungeon Meister's deck of side quests, and it's got 75 cards which can be drawn for instant side quests and role-playing game opportunities. It's only $19. I'll put a little link in the notes for this particular one because it does look pretty cool, and hopefully it'll help help any of the listeners out there to have some extra little fun maybe in your downtime between your big campaign type stuff. I said on Into Digital, there was one big announcement this week that Twilight Imperium is coming to Steam. Now, this is very, very much in early, I wouldn't say early release, but it's early news. So it's very much in kind of the development. So definitely want to go there. I'll have a link to it. You want to wish list this one on Steam. It does look like they're going to have a ton of things to do here. You've got multiplayer, you've got solo, and even looks like they'll even have kind of AI bots you can put in with your multiplayer, which kind of adds some pretty cool kind of depth to the game as well. The one thing that I say they really need to do, and they probably will, I can't imagine them not, is having async play, because you'll have basically turn-based play. Now, if they're also coming out with this, I think it's an alpha on BGA, but the difference is here with the async play on Steam, maybe if somebody drops or doesn't want to play, you could probably just replace them with a bot. I don't think you'll be able to do that on BGA. Somebody just doesn't feel like playing and drops it, you're done. But hopefully this one will have some good async play. I've got a good 4-player group ready to play this, and I would love to get larger groups involved to play this as well, just because with the game, you kind of doing all the bookkeeping and all the things that are going around, it really can make a 12-hour game or 4 to 6 hour game at least into, really constrain it down to maybe like an hour and a half or 2 hour of gameplay at most, but really bringing that heavier game. And it is a lot of fun. It is a great game. It's just a bear to get to the table. But if you have this one on Steam, maybe it'll be a little bit better for you to get in there. Hey, let's head on over to the different Kickstarters now. First up, Calypso. This is from Inside Up Games and Connor McGoey. This one I got to play at the Adam Retreat back in March. This one is absolutely great. It's got about 2 weeks to go. Well funded. Now, this game, you can play this one co-op, you can play it competitive, you can play it solo, and it plays a little bit different every time. It's got some kind, I guess you would call it polynomial gameplay, because there's going to be some T-like pieces, which are basically three on top with 2 more coming down, so 3 with 3, that'll come up into kind of your flotsam out there. The whole, it's kind of like Waterworld, kind of like a post-apocalyptic Waterworld thing. Not that there's any fighting or anything, but you're basically making your own little flotilla out there. And then as you're kind of putting pieces next to each other, when you have 3 of the same piece, at least 3 symbols that are kind of next to each other in a square, you then can build something on top of there. And there are going to be different types of, the different types of building of those same. There's basically 2 versions of each building with each different symbol that you'll put on there. And they'll do different things for you. They'll get you kind of meeples or let you go fishing or kind of just give you points. There's a lot of different things you can do with those. It's really, really fun. And let me tell you, the co-op game is challenging and it's awesome. It's a lot of fun to play. And they got this really cool thing on here where they've got this kind of mat where it's a type of, I don't know what to call it, a sticky, but it's just kind of a substance that basically these pieces won't really move around. You can kind of shake it up a little bit and the pieces won't move around, which is really, really cool, really innovative. You're going to be able to get in this one. You can get a deluxe edition for $118. There's a lot of stuff in here, so that's not a bad price at all. Or you can get just kind of the regular edition for about $54 US. Definitely check this one out. I highly recommend it, as I have played this one quite a bit. It is really, really good, and that is Calypso. Next up, Super Boss Monster 2. This from Brotherwise Games. Got only a few days left as you're listening to this. I'm sure there'll be a late pledge, but it is well funded. Boss Monster is a great, fun, kind of side-scrolly adventure type, fun little card game. Very cheeky, very fun. This has got more of the same, but it includes, adds some dice to the mix of things. And they're really good at making new things. It's amazing how many cool things they come up with for the different Boss Monster franchise. I absolutely love this franchise. This particular one, you can get in for, this is the Family Boss, $65, Boss Pledge, and a copy of Boss Monster Jr. The regular Boss Pledge, you can get in for, looks like Boss Monster 2 for $35. Is a good price as well. You probably want to get in on that one for the, the good price of the $65 one. Get you a little bit more there as well. Next up, we've got distilled cocktails. Now, distilled is a really fun kind of medium to heavyweight Euro about distilling kind of whiskey and other things like that. The cocktails expansion really brings more to the table and really elevates the game. The game's already really good, but if you play it a lot, it could get a little, I want to say samey, but you definitely know what you're looking for in the game. But this particular one adds so much more to the game, and I think people will really love it. That is Distilled Cocktails from Purrfect Games. You can get in on this one for about $50 to get the retail edition of Distilled Cocktails. Really fun. Only a few days to go on this one as well, and well funded. Another one which has been highly anticipated. Now, this is a dry, soulless Euro to the core. This is a Container. This is from All Play. Now, Container is kind of an older kind of Euro, kind of Euro in every sense of the word, very European Euro game with some economics. Very, very kind of, when I say dry, soulless Euro, I mean that in a good sense, but there's not a whole lot of randomness to it, and it is a very economic game. Not really up my alley. I've played it before. It's okay. But it's been a long time, but they are updating it quite a bit and bringing some new bits. So if you have been waiting for Container, you can get in on this one. It's 11 days to go as of this recording, about a week and a half to go, and you can get in on this one. You've got some other smaller games too. You've got Grunts, which looks cool for $19, and also Triangulation for $19, which looks really good. Or you can just get Container for $39. So you can also get the bundle in there as well. This one, again, people that love these games, these type of games, absolutely love Container. While it's not my thing, I think people out there will really enjoy it. If this is your thing, you'll love it. Next up, Bagged and Boarded. This is about 2.5 weeks to go. It is well funded. This is from Nick McCollum. I kind of really enjoyed this game. This is very grassroots, kind of like the little project that could, even though it is funded, can use some help here. I really like the comic book theme to it. Has a little bit of a economic place to it, but it's got some worker placement, action selection here, and set collection with kind of, as they say, kind of a rummy theme to it. But that set collection helps you to determine kind of prices of things and kind of some of the economics there. You can get in this one for $65. There's plenty of add-ons to it as well, but man, it looks like a lot of fun. I really want to check this one out. So hopefully this one, hopefully they produce a lot of this so I can check this one out. Hopefully I can get a review copy of this one once it does come out, but it does look great. Bagged and Boarded. And we've got next up the Game Makers from Bezier Games. Now, this one is an interesting one to talk about, and I'll try to do it as quick as I can. It is well funded, and in the next few days, it's only got a few days to go, so you'll want to get on this one. But I believe it'll probably pass $1 million. Now, what's interesting about this one is the price is just absolutely insane. There's a completionist pledge for $199, and there's a regular gamer pledge for $149. I'm not sure this one's going to be coming to retail or not, because I really think, I said this on a Geek All-Stars, I really think this game would be great at a $60 area, because it does seem like, while it's great production value, I think it's all unnecessary stuff. Like, it's going to be great. It'll look great. It'll look awesome. I'd love to get my hands on it, but I'm not sure I'm paying for this. But the Game Makers is basically, you are producing a game. They've got over 300 art assets from other games that are on these cards, which basically your contracts to complete, and then they'll go up on your shelf. You have like Calyx shelfies on here, Calyx shelves up here that you're putting your games. So basically it has kind of this rondelle in a way, or just kind of this lazy Susan that kind of reminds me a bit of Fromage, same designer. Ben Rossett is great. I talked to him quite a bit about this game when I was at Gen Con, and he's an absolutely amazing designer. I love the guy. He also did Brewcrafters, and like I said, Fromage. And he usually works with Matthew O'Malley, but I think this one is just him. But on your turn, you're basically moving your forklifts around. Now, the kind of Lazy Susan, where the first area is, that's kind of the one area that you're doing your actions or taking your forklifts from. Depending on if you go 1, 2, or 3 spots, that's going to be the strength of basically the tools or materials that you will be getting, and that you're either going to be using them for one thing, or you're going to be putting them into kind of your let's just call it your tableau, so that you can use them to complete those contracts. Now, the game, even though it's $150 to $200, it is not that heavy. It's pretty light of a game, as far as light to medium weight, as far as figuring things out. And it is really fun. I gotta say, I really like it. I've been playing it a whole bunch on BGA. So if you want to check it out, go to BGA. There's a few videos you can watch that'll give you good overviews, and then you can go check it out on BGA. I would recommend you go play this one and then see if you like it. Again, the reason why it's so expensive is they've got a lot of really cool stuff as far as like magnets, and the way that the kind of the board goes together, and kind of the Lazy Susan is really nice, and the way everything is, and kind of the production is really nice. I just want a $60 version of this game. Just give me a lower version so I can play this one. I really want to own this one, but I don't know if I'm going to pay that. But anyway, looks good. If you've got the money, it's going to be right up your alley. But again, the game is stellar. Next up, we got a couple more here on Kickstarter before we get out of here. Football U, the team building college football board game. Got about 2.5 weeks to go. I really like this one by the Scorelander Games. They did the baseball game that I really enjoyed, kind of like the GM version that was Bat Flip Dynasty, kind of a GM kind of gaming, baseball GM game. And this one here is all about kind of running your college football team and kind of, again, more of a general manager type sim, but it is really cool. I do have this one. I have not gotten a chance to play this one yet. A friend of mine that had gotten an early copy, as far as the review, sent it on over to me, but I have not gotten it. But I do really love these type of games, and the videos I see look really good. I think you would enjoy this one. Only 18 days to go, but it's only $40 to get on this one, and it is funded as well. Next up, we've got Rift Blade. This is an interesting one. Another kind of little one that it is funded. It's got about a week and a half to go. This is by Trey Chastain. I bring this one up because it's, someone said it's like Dice Throne meets Ascension. And since I love deck building games, I love rolling dice, I love collecting things, and I just love deck building. This one looks really right up my alley. It is not very expensive at $50 to get in on this one. They're going to be doing a digital version. I don't know if I would go in on these higher tiers because really I don't know much information about how they're going to be running all these different things. There's a couple of tiers that do have some expansions, which is fine, but there is some higher tiers that'll get you some more digital stuff. Until I see what this digital is going to be like to be able to play it, I don't know if I would go too heavy into it because you just really never know how this is going to be. But anyway, the game does look solid. And again, I do love one-on-one deck builders, even though you can play this one up to 4 players, but this is a good one-on-one deck builder to play. Again, you got cards, dice, right up my alley. Let's head on over to GameFound. Just have a couple of quick announcements on GameFound. There's 2 that are coming soon. First up, you've got Witcher Legacy, which kind of takes Witcher, the old world, makes it more of kind of a campaign-y co-op, which I think is what a lot of people really wanted out of this one. That'll be coming soon. I'll put a link to the preview page. And also Rove, Anchor Point, and a reprint. I have Rove. We're going to get into it after we get out of Frosthaven, but Rove is kind of from one of the designers that did the Crimson Scales, which is kind of the fan-made expansions for Gloomhaven. So it's not that Rove is Gloomhaven, but if you like Gloomhaven, you're going to love Rove. It takes a lot of that same familiar gameplay and brings it into kind of a new world and new things. And then they have Rogue Anchor Point, which kind of feels like Jaws of the Lion for Rove, where it's kind of like a streamlining and to really bring you into the Rove universe to play. And also, since there's going to be a reprint of Rove, you can get in on that one as well. Really think this one looks great. And again, I can't wait to play my copy of Rove, but really would love to hear what people think about those 2 coming soon games. Finally, thanks to everybody on the Discord who brought this one to my attention. I don't get to Backer Kit as much, or I keep forgetting to get over to it, but Pathfinder Quest is over there on Backer Kit. Another one that is well funded, and it's got about 3 weeks to go. I just don't know. I want to play it. I just don't know if I want to back it. You're looking at about $100, a really cool looking box. It has like that same, Pathfinder Quest. Pathfinder Quest has the same thing like Warhammer Quest and all of these other kind of, adventure games in a box. But this one, you got to play 4 players, which is kind of cumbersome for us solo players. I'm a solo player, so a game like this has got to be a little bit cumbersome. Even if I'm playing 2 players, controlling 2 players each, it just seems cumbersome. So that gives me a little bit of trepidation. But if you do have a good game group that does love kind of adventure or dungeon delves, this is going to be a cool little campaign game for you. And again, you get into it $120, has some nice miniatures, and it probably does have some decent gameplay. It's just really hard to tell from this game page. It has a lot of stuff on this page, but it is really hard to tell if the game's going to have, if the juice is going to be worth the squeeze. But definitely check it out. I'll have a link in case you do want to check that one out as well. That is Pathfinder Quest. Thanks for joining me today. If you see any news you think I'd like to feature, shoot me a message at GeekJockDan on Twitter and on the Geek All Stars podcast. And you can also check me out on the Geek All Stars on Instagram as well. Please check out MajorSpoilers.com for more content by Steven and the rest of the Major Spoilers crew. And check out, like I said, the Geek All Stars podcast. As always, I am Dan, the Board Game Man, and I'll see everyone in a couple of weeks for another Munchkin Minute.
This podcast is copyright 2025 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.